Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to this reflection on the 15th juz of the Quran, which I'm taking from Surah Al-Isra. But before I do that, I want to tell you about a little story that happened at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. A man came to complain about his father and said that my father constantly wants money from me, he's constantly seeking things from me, and I don't want to be, and want to be able to be independent. So the man was asked by the Prophet ﷺ to bring his father, and the father came along, and he was uttering some words of poetry that were to do with his son. And what he said in this poetry brought tears to the eyes of the Prophet ﷺ. And what he said essentially was that I nourished you when you were a baby, about his son. I looked after you as you grew into a young man. I was healthy so you were healthy even though sometimes my own health was affected. Not a night passed by when you were sick or ill except that I sat beside you and I was the first one to be up. I carried you and looking upon you with my heart, and if an atom's weight of difficulty came your way, I wouldn't be able to sleep. And I would never sleep until you slept. And my eyes were always overwhelmed with tears for fears about what happened to you, what would happen to you. And finally, when you reached adulthood, which I was waiting for all my life, I was waiting for you to become an adult so that I could look forward to something too. And that day was the happiest day when you became an adult, and you gave me a reward. And that reward was cruelty and harshness and mistreatment. When the Prophet ﷺ heard these words from this man, his beard was soaked with tears. The man continued in his verse and said that you just treated me, to his son, you treated me like a neighbor. In fact, I wish you treated me like a neighbor, but you did far less than that. And the verse that I wanted to talk to you about, dear brothers and sisters, is when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Isra, وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ, that Allah has ordained that you worship none but Him. So the first part of it is that this is to do with Tawheed and associating no partner with Allah. And then He says very swiftly afterwards that وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا, and that you are excellent, you treat your parents in an excellent way. إِمَّا يَبْلُغَنَّ عِنْدَكَ الْكِبْرَ أَحَدُهُمَا أَوْ كِلَاهُمَا فَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا أُفٍّ, that whether one of them or both of them reach old age with you, you do not say to them even the words uff, I don't want to hear anything you have to say, or respond in a bad way. وَقُلْ لَهُمَا قَوْلًا كَرِيمًا, and say to them nothing but a word that is noble. And then Allah continues in the next verse, وَاخْفِضْ لَهُمَا جَنَاحَ الذُّلِّ مِنَ الرَّحْمَةِ وَقُلْ رَبِّ ارْحَمْهُمَا كَمَا رَبَّيَانِي صَغِيرًا, and extend to them the wing of humility out of mercy, and say, my Lord, have mercy upon them the way they had mercy upon me when I was a child. Now, some of us may have parents that are alive, or both are dead, or one is alive, and one has passed away. Regardless, we are told to treat them with utmost respect and honor. And in his advice to his son Luqman alayhi salam, in Surah Luqman, says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِن جَاهَدَكَ عَلَىٰ أَن تُشْرِكْ بِمَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٌ فَلَا تُطِعْهُمَا وَصَاحِبْهُمَا فِي الدُّنْيَا مَعْرُوفًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, this is now about parents who are telling you to worship other than Allah. What does He say? He says, but if they try to make you associate partners with me, yani Allah, then, and I have no knowledge about what they're doing, then do not obey them, yani disobey them. At the same time, in very swift succession, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَصَاحِبُهُمَا فِي الدُّنْيَا مَعْرُوفًا, and be with them in appropriate kindness, regardless of what they tell you to do. With Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, still be kind to them. Imagine that, brothers and sisters, because that is so important in a world today when we hear about people, youngsters taking their parents to court over all sorts of issues about things that they feel belong to them. Finally, I will end with this. The Prophet ﷺ said, إِذَا مَاتَ ابْنَ آدَمْ انْقَطَعَ عَمَلُهُ إِلَّا ثَلَاثٍ, when the son of Adam dies, all of his actions end except for three. And I pray that this is the one that we become. Amongst them are sadaqat jariyah, that we give a continuous charity like building a school or a well or something. علم ينتفع به, knowledge that is beneficial for others that we leave behind. And most importantly here, ولد صالح يدعو له, that it is a pious child that prays for that parent. The condition is that it's a pious child. So if you want to benefit your parents if they passed away, then in the light of this surah, remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala places straight after committing shirk with Allah, people who are undutiful to their parents. And if you want to help your parents, then make sure you pray for them, but on the condition that you are a good child. Jazakumullah khair wa assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.